Hello, everyone, and welcome to United Way. Live United. I'm Terry Westerfield. And joining me today, I have friends in who are going to talk about the combined federal campaign. I want to welcome to the program Michelle Brown, who is with the USDA Southern Regional Research Center. Hi, Michelle.
Hi, how you doing?
I am doing well, and I am so excited to see you ladies all the time, and you're finally here. Marjorie Wheeler, who is with the IRS, and I think we all know what those three letters stand for, don't we, Marjorie?
Yes, we do.
Also here today, my dear friend Eleanor Simmons, who is the manager for the combined federal campaign for the Greater New Orleans area. Welcome, Eleanor.
Hey, you Derek.
And last but not least, the beautiful and new mama once again, Melissa Mobiliot, who is the coordinator for the combined federal campaign for the Greater New Orleans area. Welcome, Melissa.
Thanks for having us.
For all of you who are joining us today, I want to let you know that the combined federal campaign is the philanthropic arm for our federal employees. Now, the CFC, as it's often called, is the only authorized solicitation of federal employees in their workplace. And believe me, there are a lot in this area. So this is the only solicitation, and it is on the behalf of approved charitable organizations. Now, the CFC is run by federal volunteers across the country and overseas, and it is the largest employee campaign in the world. That's amazing to me. And Eleanor, I'm going to ask you to get us started, because this is something that often I'll have people say, well, CFC and then United Way, and are you two connected? And if so, how? Can you explain a little bit about the partnership, or let's just say relationship we have?
Sure. You can think of United Way as the contractor that runs the campaign for the federal employees. The thing about CFC is it's a campaign for federal employees, really run by federal employees. And so we, as the contractor for those federal employees, help to get the word out about the campaign, help to organize and manage the campaign, because as you know, United Way has run campaigns since time began.
About.
That's a strong suit of ours, and so that's what we do. So federal employees select what's called a PCFO, or primary campaign fund organization, like United Way, to help run the campaign, and we get the assistance of loaned executives like the ladies who are here today, and they help us to go out into the federal community and let the folks know about the charities that federal employees have helped to select and approve, and get all that information there out there so that federal employees can choose the charity of their choice, the passion of their choice, and have payroll deduction options. We have credit card options, debit card options, you name cash, you name it, we'll take the funds. But we are moving more and more into the 21st century, so we're becoming online as much as possible, donating online.
No, say, and it's interesting because the federal campaign, again, not only the largest in the world, but my goodness, the largest in this state, I would think, because you've grown. At one time, the combined federal campaign, I believe, at least for the Greater New Orleans area, was 14 parishes, and now it's up to 29 or something along those lines?
23 parishes.
How did it grow? It seems almost like it was overnight. What happened? How did that come about?
Well, we merged. There were four campaigns in the state of Louisiana, and we merged with the Louisiana Middle District, which most folks know as the Baton Rouge area. And so now we are one area, and we include all 23 parishes, including Baton Rouge, East Baton Rouge, West Feliciana, East Feliciana, all the areas around there. And we are excited to have those folks with us and involved and engaged in the campaign.
I was going to say that it's wonderful for the growth, and I see my two lovely ladies here, Miss Michelle and Marjorie. And ladies, you've been doing this for a number of years. What keeps you coming back?
Well, I've been doing it for 4 years, and it's rewarding to go out and assist nonprofit organizations in raising money for their, prospective organizations. It's just giving back is what I look at it. It's giving back, and what better way to do that? Because at some time in my life, certainly, these agencies just helped me during Hurricane Katrina, Hurricane Rita. A lot of us got assistance doing that. So, this is my way of actually giving back to the nonprofits.
And how about you, Michelle?
This is my second year doing the Combined Federal Campaign as a loan executive. To me, it is the heart of the campaign to provide what exposure that we can to the federal employees, because these charities out here, they actually need our assistance. They would not be open in the communities if there was not a need in the communities for these organizations to be open. And so it's rewarding to me as well, like Marjorie said. It's definitely rewarding because you have a compassion to want to see these nonprofit organizations to grow. Because they definitely depend on some of our monies. If not, we would not be soliciting. And for the fact that the Combined Federal Campaign started in 1961 by President John F. Kennedy to allow federal employees to give the opportunity to give, that is definitely rewarding. And since we started out going to Baton Rouge area, we bringing a lot of opportunities to the Baton Rouge area in the way that we're doing things in the greater New Orleans area. And it's bringing the opportunity for more exposure, more opportunities to give. OPM has started something new this year by allowing us to have a universal giving list, and that giving list affords those employees to give where they're previously had lived at before. And so it's just a great joy to me to give back to the community.
Well, Michelle and Marjorie, what you do is so admirable. And it makes me wonder in terms of, we hear that term, it was just used by all of you, loaned executive. Mm-hmm. I know some people are outside there now right now listening, scratching their head saying, okay, I don't quite understand the loaned part. Could one of you explain it, please?
Well, a loaned executive is a person that's loaned to the Combined Federal Campaign to be able to work with the different offices that's been assigned to us, to assist them in their kickoff, per se, and training their key workers,
to really participate.
Exactly. Training their key workers how to basically go out and solicit the donations for the campaign.
And just so people know about that term, key workers, like, think about it, that there are lots of different volunteers involved in it. And like Marjorie and Michelle, they have several different agencies that they're responsible for, and they work a lot with the coordinators there. But then they go even further, and they work with if you have a large organization, you have folks who are called key workers that fan out and make sure that every person in that organization is given the opportunity to give and knows that it's campaign time and you can pick the cause of your choice and go at it and support those folks. Some people, this month is breast cancer awareness month?
Yes.
Yes. And also, I think domestic violence. Was it Indian awareness month? There are lots of different. You know how there's a month for just about any cause.
Exactly.
And you can find just about any cause in the charity listing for the Combined Federal Campaign.
Well, now, how are these listings, these different charities, chosen? Because I want to backtrack a little bit and ask you how it compares to United Way versus CFC. But I've seen it used to be a book. Now I know everything's online. But my goodness, hundreds it seems like, if not more in there. How and who determines what goes in to being part of the Combined Federal Campaign?
There are about 2,700 organizations.
Yeah, more than a few hundred
in the book. So the book is still around.
Okay.
And locally, charities apply to be a part of that book, and once they apply, the federal employees come in. There's a review group of federal employees, and they reviewed the charity's application based on criteria provided to us by the Office of Personnel Management. And then after that review process, they accept or deny them. And then from there, it goes up to the next level. We have a local federal coordinating committee made of agency heads called the Policy Committee of the Federal Executive Board, and that's just it, federal executives here in the area.
You say pretty important.
Pretty important folks, and they bless that group, and they get to go in the book for all the local folks. Now, the national and international folks that are in the book, that is actually approved at the Office of Personnel Management.
And that's in Washington?
And that's in D.C. And now, Michelle just mentioned universal giving. So when folks go online, because that's how there's so many folks that are, so many agencies that are approved with universal giving, they go online and they can put in a cause, and you can, let's take Cancer Society. Mm-hmm. You put in Cancer Society and you can find Cancer Society of Kansas and Pennsylvania and all those different areas.
As well as CAGNA, which is
here locally.
Here locally. So, and that's something that we would even share in terms of United Way in our campaign, but CFC in their campaign.
Exactly. So you have the option, if you moved here from another area and you gave to that particular organization, to the Boy Scouts, you can give to that agency as long as it's on that universal giving list.
I would say, and that's probably pretty important considering that I know in the past we've been fortunate to have our friends who are loan executives from the branches of the military come on and talk about it at any time. When Uncle Sam calls, they could be going anywhere in the country or overseas. And so to be able to do that. And I think what I like when you're explaining all this, Eleanor, is that it again, we always talk about in charity work, you want to be good stewards of the donor dollar.
Absolutely.
You want people to know that that money is going to be used the way it says it's going to be used, and that there are checks and balances and a lot of oversight. So to be in the CFC, to be in that book, yeah, you've had a lot of oversight.
Exactly. You've been checked and rechecked and probably checked again.
And then some more. We know what we're talking about. All right, Michelle, you're here from USDA. Marjorie, you're here from the IRS. I want to come back because I want you to talk a little bit about what you do in your real job. But also, Eleanor, Melissa, give us a little idea of some of the others so our listening audience knows about the other good folks who have stepped up and are working on the CFC campaign with us, other agencies that they might represent.
Well, let's see, we also have loan executives from the Army Corps of Engineers. From SPAWAR, that's the strategic...
It's the U.S. Naval.
Yeah. They're somewhere out there by the lakefront.
But
in a secret location not to be disclosed.
It's secret. No, but again, it's
from the USDA National Finance Center. And this year we don't have any military LEs this year. At least not yet. None have popped up.
But we do have 2 from the United States Postal Service.
And that's always big. And I guess I'm just trying to show, or for those, again, who are listening can hear about just the diversity of these government agencies and the good folks who participate every year. And, you just mentioned USDA. I'm going to come back to you, Marjorie. Not that I don't think people know what the IRS does, but USDA. Michelle, you've got to explain a little bit about that, because to me it is such a fascinating place, some of the history. If you can spend just a little bit here and talk about some of the things that happened there, because it's just an amazing, amazing place.
Okay, when you speak in terms of USDA, we have 2 loan executives from USDA. Myself represent the Southern Regional Research Center out there on the lakefront. We do provide research, agriculture research, and have collaborations with a lot of agencies as well as partners, Cotton Incorporated. We have all sorts of research we're doing. If you think about cotton and all the ways that cotton cotton is produced here. We can do research at our facility from the cotton seed all the way to its final stages of growth.
I understand you can grow cotton in colors. Did
Yes,
you
you
develop
absolutely
that? I just
can.
am fascinated by that. Ever since I've been a kid.
Yes, you absolutely can. And it was just amazing to me that when I started working at the USDA 3 years ago, that when I was putting together our display, the colors of cotton, phenomenal.
I hear the song right now in my ears.
The
too. I don't
colors
know
of
about you.
cotton. And so we also have a large partnership with sugarcane. Of course, you know that is grown here in Houma, Louisiana. We have collaborations there. We also do we patented a lot of the things that you may not realize that we did, but we do have batter. Gluten-free batter that you can put on your fish, or we do sugarcane research. We do research on catfish. Amazing catfish.
Some of the, I forget the name. It's agrarian, but it's not the pond and the catfish. And I forget aquaculture.
Aquaculture.
Just took me a few seconds.
Yes, we doing research on that now, and it's just so amazing all the wonderful research that's going on at the USDA. As a matter of fact, I am currently in charge of making sure that the public know what we're doing in research. So that's going to be coming out. We're going to be celebrating 75 years of research on the lakefront, and we're looking forward to that opportunity to do such over there. And then there's also the National Finance. When you think about finances, of course, they're responsible for making sure that all of the a lot of the agencies that they're assigned to have all of their payroll and all their human resources funneled through the National Finance Center in Michoud. So we have a lot of things. There's USDA is large here in the community. People just have to know
Sometimes
about
people
us.
forget. They see the buildings, they have friends, they have neighbors, but sometimes they don't connect the dots, as we say, to understand what USDA.
Absolutely.
And now the lovely Marjorie. I know she's smiling. Now sometimes IRS, it seems like you say IRS and people, ooh, but you play a very, very important role in our local culture, in society in general, I mean, across the country.
Well, actually, I've been employed with the IRS for 37 plus years.
So you know a little bit about it.
Yes. My real job, and I'll tell you why I say my real job title is tax compliance officer. But I've been on detail / working full time with my union, which is National Treasury Employees Union. I'm first vice president and chief steward of that union. I'm also on the National Executive Board, so I really have not worked IRS cases in some years. So that's pretty much my primary job, which is why it's easy for me to become a loan executive, because they're not taking me away from any casework. Mm-hmm. So, it's very easy for me to move from that office to the United Way office without losing any time.
But you have such an important job. I'm sitting here almost wishing it was television as I'm raising my hands up over my head, up, because you're up there at the top.
Well,
but as people, the tax, and even though you're not actually handling the cases anymore, but you explain to friends, I'm sure you must get chided, and then you have to explain to people that, hey, good job, good things that they do, because our tax dollars they are collected. If we want schools and roads and sewage systems and et cetera, it comes from that.
IRS is actually the largest moneymaker of the federal government.
Uh-huh.
Really, without the IRS, the government would not exist as it is today, anyway. I hear people talk about doing away with taxes and voluntary taxes, which I don't think would ever make it, because, voluntarily, how many of us
nobody
would?
wants to pay if they don't
Exactly.
have to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, really, without the IRS, and we became what they call a more friendlier IRS. We do try to do what they call an offer and compromise on some cases, and we work with our taxpayers, set them up on installment plans, or sometimes they may be in a situation where we can't collect the taxes, so we put them in what we call an uncollectible status. But we certainly work with individuals, on a case-by-case basis, and bring them into compliance. And sometimes that means that we might have to do some seizures or sales or what have you. But for the most part, we do work with the taxpaying public to get the issues resolved.
And again, it's rules, it's regulations. We all live by them in a society. And when you mentioned about working with them, you even talked yourself about some of the needs, and that the CFC, the Combined Federal Campaign, helps because of the nonprofits and charities out there. We've had some hurricanes. We've had the BP, we've had these, and I know the IRS adapted to work with the folks who've been hit so hard by a number of these challenges that have come forth in these last 10 years.
Yes, we did. We work with them one way or another. More times than often, we have to extend the time for them filing their returns, because actually, returns are due April 15th, and you can get an extension through August 15th, and again, one through December. And lots of times when we have disasters, we suspend collections. We also suspend audit, where we don't go out and do any audits for a particular period of time. So we do try to work with the public, as much as we can. Of course, we still have some work to be done, but, we do the best we can to try to help, people resolve the issues.
And now you're doing more to help by being part of the loaned executive campaign for the CFC, for the Combined Federal Campaign. And I have to ask you, and Melissa or Eleanor, because Michelle, you brought it up about USDA. We forget just how many employees locally. And Michelle, you're talking about nationwide, but how many, I think this is going to make people just kind of blank and say, what? But how many overall federal employees in this region? And now that we've expanded, our CFC's expanded to cover 23 parishes.
Well, just in the greater New Orleans region alone is 23,000 employees. And we're learning more and more about the Baton Rouge area and how many employees are out there. We're finding folks. We're seeking them out, and we have. So they're not as large as we are, of course, but we've added on a few thousand employees by taking on the Baton Rouge area.
It almost sounds like we could be one of the, or I say we, but the federal government is the number one or right up there as one of the largest employers.
In the greater New Orleans area, the federal government is the largest employer.
And I think a lot of that goes back to, and Melissa, you said it about our friends at the post office. We always have good representation who are working on the CFC campaign.
Yes, absolutely.
So here we've got just so many folks and coming in. I want to know, we talked about how they're chosen, these different charities and nonprofits. Can you talk a little bit about, Eleanor, or almost either one? Again, we explained that we have this kind of partnership. We work together, but we're different, and how we are different, how we work individually, independently of each other as well.
Explain that a little bit more.
Well, I guess I'm thinking because we have similar checks and balances and how charities are chosen, but we're different because we have charities and a different review system, and there are far fewer to choose from when you give to us, because we're going with just simply local.
Right. Well, and also the way that the charities are organized, they're by different taxonomies. They have to be health and human services organizations, but when we're talking about for CFC, health and human services, that can be animal related, like
and that's
SPCA,
and that's what I was going to say. They're a little bit different in that respect.
Right. Environmental organizations like Lake Pontchartrain Basin Foundation, and so it's a range of different organizations. And for CFC, we try to make that range as broad as possible so that people have the opportunity to select, whatever passion is a big part of their life. So that's part of why that's important. And I know for United Way, Health and Human Services has a narrower focus, because I know with United Way, there's not an animal-related charity. It's really, it's focused in on health, income, and education. So, but for CFC, it's a broader spectrum. It's a very broad spectrum.
I can't believe it, ladies. We're running out of time. We just have a few minutes left, but this is just such an important show. I wanted to talk a little bit and give some props too. We have to clap our hands here because yes, not only all your good work, but that of now every year you have an executive who is in charge, and this year it's Mr. Brian Farley, as I understand, who is the district manager of the New Orleans Downtown Social Security Office. So he is this year's local CFC chairman. And I know that he's really working hard and out there. And he says this is just something that he has in a letter that he sent out. And he says in the last 10 years alone, we have collectively contributed over $15 million, and the giving patterns of past donors reveal that approximately 60% of those donations remained in our local area. And then I love this because he says, do you realize what it means to the local charities in our communities? Well, many of them can say it's because you're here and you make it possible. And I think that's really the theme of this year's giving campaign too, isn't it?
Most definitely. And if folks want to find out more about CFC, they can go to our website, which is www.cfcgno, and you can find out more about our campaign cabinet, our themes, and the way that that folks can give online. And I just have to also mention our civilian chair, Mr. Mike Anderson.
Thank you.
Came to our office and was right out front and took part in a CFC splash event.
Do tell, because that was fun.
Well, he and two other compatriots that he roped into it got splashed with waters, and the LEs took part in that event. And it was to encourage folks to participate in CFC, and you can see that live on the video on our Facebook page, our CFC Combined Federal Campaign Greater New Orleans for Greater New Orleans Facebook page. So come and visit that and see it. We've gotten lots of likes for that, and the two other folks that participated with him, one was from the IRS. That was Gabe. He's the special agent in charge of criminal investigations for the IRS. And
Gabe Gertchen,
yes.
And criminal
who's,
and U.S. Marshal Jenny May.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of people. Broad spectrum. So many people doing so many things and working to help others. And again, I know that you had said it, Marjorie, that those who've been helped want to help others. And Michelle, you've said the same thing and echoed that. We have just a couple seconds left. Is there somebody who wants to give one last little word on why it is so important to participate in the CFC?
I think it's important to participate and to note that the CFC campaign, the giving season, is open from September 1st through December 15th. So pledge today. The sooner you pledge, the sooner you'll be entered into our weekly drawings that we hold for all the donors. Once you donate, if you don't win one week, your name is still in the hat for the next week. And so we'll do that through the end of this campaign, which ends again on December 15th.
And these are some donated goods, some opportunities. They have to win lovely items.
Absolutely.
That might be.
They run from coffee and beignets to a hotel stay at the Beau Rivage or Roosevelt Hotel. We've had a lot
Windsor
of
Court.
the Windsor Court. We've had a lot of generous donations this year, and a lot of good perks to giving to the Combined Federal Campaign. And last year we raised right under $1 million, and we're hoping to exceed that $1 million mark this year.
I was going to say, I think that so far from what I read, that you're over 161,000. So it's growing and going. And we need that to continue, right?
Absolutely.
Ladies, thank you so much for joining me today. Michelle Brown with the USDA Southern Regional Research Center, Marjorie Wheeler, who is with the Internal Revenue Service, Eleanor Simmons, who is the manager of the Combined Federal Campaign for the Greater New Orleans area, and Melissa Mobiliet, who is the coordinator for the Combined Federal Campaign for the Greater New Orleans area. And those of you who are listening today want to know a little bit about United Way of Southeast Louisiana. we aspire to help people live the best life possible. United Way of Southeast Louisiana supports health and human service programs of nonprofit agencies that, with United Way, work to strengthen children and youth, the elderly, families, and individuals from all walks of life in Jefferson, Orleans, Plaquemine, St. Bernard, St. Tammany, Tangipahoa, and Washington parishes. For more information, please visit us at unitedwaysela.org. I'm Terry Westerfield. Live United.